all of life
Yeah,
happening.
a lot, right? But every single morning, I have to start my day. I have to start my day now, like calibrating to that receptive mode, right? To my higher self. We all, we all know it. Like that when somebody says, okay, take a deep breath and like find your center, you know what that means. Even if you're like running a million miles, as soon as someone says it, you go, oh, that center place is somewhere else energetically. And I know it's within reach. I know I can find it. When I was first in LA, a couple of years in, I was there for 18 years. I think we might go back. We don't know, but we've been in Florida since August. But I spent 2 years at the Mindful Awareness Research Center at UCLA. And so that was really helpful, learning to meditate. And I meditate now more regularly every single morning. But what I learned at UCLA was like that place is always a breath away. It's always within reach. And the thing is, like, what we know from psychology, what we know from neuroscience is that our brain is an artifact. So we wake up in the past every day because we've been firing and wiring the same thoughts that make us feel those feelings. And then our body gets addicted because we release cortisol from certain thoughts. And just like nicotine is addictive, so is cortisol. And so your body gets addicted to shame and fear and guilt and resentment. And once you know enough about the way the brain works and about neuroplasticity, that you can literally start to fire and wire new thoughts, and that certain thoughts make you feel the opposite of cortisol, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, you start feeling expansion. Once you know a little bit about it, you know too much to go back to sleep because you don't want to run the program every day. It sucks, right? And the more we know about science and energy, we know that like an atom is 99.999% energy and 0.0001% matter. So matter don't make matter. Energy makes matter. And so the more I learned and the more I kept studying, I was like, and the more I kept feeling it, I was like, oh, this is more true than anything else. So I have to start my day getting back in touch with like, this is what it is. And on the call last night, I played for you guys the song by India Arie, I Am Light. And I love the India Arie and I love that song. And it's really that every morning I'm basically coming home to, I am an extension of source energy, right? I'm an extension of God. I also spent 3 years in Jerusalem. I'm a Jewish girl, but grew up totally secular, studied religion in college, on a whim, went to Israel, wound up staying for 3 years, got really into Kabbalah, mysticism, all that. So that's like another tool in the tool bag. The thing is, they all point in this, all those rivers to the same ocean. So like my rabbi, David Aaron in Jerusalem likes to say, like, if God is the sun, we're each a ray of that light. And we are a masterpiece, a piece of the master. So it's about starting your day in that vibration. And the power of a non-resistant thought is that's the most invincible power you have. It's like, actually, my rabbi just said this to me the other day. I had never really thought this thought. The word Kabbalah comes from the word lakabel, and that the word lakabel means to receive. So Kabbalah means to receive. So he says, you know, Kath, people talk about the law of attraction. He goes, this is the law of reception, which means the spigot is on full blast all day right now. The blessing is coming. Like it's all here. It's like tune in, right? So like a radio, you can at this moment, right, we could tune into a Latin station, we could tune into a hip hop station, it's all right here, but it's like, what's the receptor tuning into? And so when you tune into the expansion of this universe, when you tune into like, oh, the abundance, oh my God, how good it can feel, you look out in nature, you're like, nothing is rushing and everything is working out. These birds they're just good. Like these trees are like, no tree is like, I don't want to be too tall, I might bother somebody. Like everything is just like doing thing, and there's a well-being. And so we get to be, we get to kind of like co-create like our life. So I do that every single day. And I'll tell you one other piece though, because it's really fun to talk about this stuff because it's so high vibe. What people don't want to talk about is when you are carrying around stuff and you have to deal with it.
Yeah,
And so, yeah. And so I just had Janine Roth on the podcast. I think that's episode will come out next week. And I love her book, Women, Food, and God. It's amazing. I think I find like every other word. And the thing about it is we are running constantly from feelings. But in the morning, if you want to go up and into that higher vibration, all the things we were just talking about really, really help, and they work. And yes, and roll out the welcome mat for whatever you're holding. Because as soon as you feel a feeling, whether it's sadness or loneliness or abandonment, by letting yourself feel that feeling, you are going to actually be free of the resistance of the feeling. And then you can get more in alignment. And it's really fascinating just how much we're afraid to feel those feelings. It's the story about the feeling that's hurting us. It's not the feeling itself. Like if you actually just go, I just have such sadness right now. There's actually a satisfaction in feeling the sadness. Not like, oh, this feels good, but it does feel that there's something that gets integrated about it, and your body thanks you for letting you show up for that feeling. So I think we judge it a lot. Like Rachel Platten, she's become a friend of mine, and she was just on the podcast, and she was talking about like, I used to say like, oh, only the bright feelings are good ones. The other ones are bad. But that's the problem. Like we're human beings. So we're going to have a constellation of feelings. And if you actually show up for the feeling, your mind won't start racing and obsessing and throwing out all these other.
No. And that really is receptivity also.